Hey guys, welcome to Crazy Days. Today we're going to do a little bit of a cabin garden tour. And yes, I look a mess. We've already picked a few English peas, a lot of blueberries. We've already watered in the sweet potatoes. We're going to be planting some more in a couple of rows later that we have when we get enough slips. But so far, the ones that we've got in there, the majority of them are doing okay. But the cabin garden, what's going on? It is in the shade somewhat. So we're going to walk through and I'm going to kind of explain a little about what's going on in the cabin garden. And Danny's probably going to cut a few of these limbs, not trees, but a few limbs just to give it a little bit more sun. This is the asparagus that Amanda and I planted. It seems to be doing well. All I've got to do is a little bit of weeding, not much, and pulling some more dirt up to the asparagus, and it will be fine. Here is the candy corn. I'm fixing to bring in, fertilize, and hoe up to each one of these because it's time to add fertilize. And the color is good. And so is the stalks. They're growing like they're supposed to, even though it's shady. I would say I had about maybe 3/4 of it came up. And in the spaces, Danny's planted squash, I believe. So here we have squash coming up, and almost every seed he planted has come up. I've got squash here. I mean, everywhere he's planted is squash. And the wind's blowing, and it's pretty awesome. The tomatoes seem to be doing really pretty decent. They've got good color. They've got little bitty tomatoes on them. And I just watered them, and they seem to be doing great here. Not too hot, not too cold yet. And this was some type of early girl, so they don't like a lot of heat. They need a little shade. My basil, my green and purple basil, all seems to be flourishing right here. So not too bad. I just watered it also. Another squash that we planted here. I think Danny brought this one in. He started in the greenhouse. It's looking good. Guys, I planted fingerling potatoes that I got in at a store for half price or less, or $1, whatever. And those fingerlings did nothing. So Danny plowed them up. And look, I have fingerlings everywhere now. All up and down this row, fingerlings have come out to the sides, everywhere. So we're going to have a few fingerling potatoes from that dollar grocery haul I had with fingerling potatoes. So that's pretty awesome. If I just get a few, it was well worth the $1. Another one of Danny's squash. My sunflowers are starting to come up everywhere. And more potatoes. And you can see more potatoes all down that row. Our beans, they look scrawny and puny, but they're loaded with blooms all the way through. And these are contenders, I believe, because I was trying them, and we have a sunflower popped in. So y'all, I just dropped sunflower seeds everywhere just to see what happens. Here, one of my cucumbers. It is finally taken off. I've got another one right up there. I only see 2 cucumbers that are working right now. These are the peas. Under this shade, the peas are not doing as well. Some of these are beans. I did some red beans, some zucchini beans, and some peas here. And they're just not taking off because I didn't have enough fertilizer here. So I think what we're going to do to see if this won't pick up is add more fertilizer and get Danny to cut only a few of the lower limbs right in here to get us some sun in that area. That tree trim up just another couple of feet and give us a little bit more sun right here. So that's what most of this garden is looking like. This is one of the squash that I planted. I planted 3 different types here, and I don't remember which is which. And then down here, something's got a hold of it, but it's coming back out new, so we're gonna see. And here, these next few squash Danny planted, he started in cups. These were some of the squash that I started. So I've got to go back and see which ones I planted where, y'all. I can't remember right off, but don't they look pretty good? These get more sun than some of the others. So overall, the candy corn cabin is looking pretty good. You can see all the sand in it. We haven't done anything since the flood, and the flood ran down these rows. Instead of going across them, it ran down them, so that helped, but it added a lot of sand into the garden. So now I've got to take and pull the dirt back up next to my corn, some of the beans, some of the squash, and add a little fertilizer, and we'll see what happens. Thank you guys for joining us with the candy corn cabin garden update. This is one of our yellow pear tomatoes that we put here at the cabin in a container. It is going crazy. These, we've never had a problem not having tomatoes with these. It's blooming. And yesterday I saw little tomatoes everywhere. I've already gotten one that was already on it from the greenhouse. I don't remember where I saw tomatoes, but there we go. It's already got little tomatoes on it. So, Bloom's tomatoes, very healthy looking plant. Just watered it. The yellow pear tomato should do pretty good here. Just watered the sweet potatoes here. We have one more row there and one more row down here. These were the white ones, so we were saving these last two rows for white sweet potatoes. We're going to fill in this row and the end of that other row with the I think it's the Puerto Rican reds. So that's going to be what we keep adding, is the red ones on this side, the white ones over here. Danny is plowing the first sweet potatoes that we put in. These are the first sweet potatoes we did before the flood. You can see he's plowed one row, and most of them are looking pretty good. We're going to make sure there's no dirt on top of any of them, but you can see how it washed down the hill this way, messing up the rows. So he's fixing the rows back, and we're going to see how many we need to replant because we can see some skips in it. Now Danny's plowed all the rows of sweet potatoes in the first field that we planted before the flood, and they are looking pretty awesome. We only lost maybe a couple of dozen out of all these, out of a couple of hundred. The sugar cane has got to be the weeds pulled out of it. It's doing pretty good. Danny's peppers are looking really good here. We even have some little bitty bells and little bitty mucho nachos already growing on these. See the peppers. They are growing really well. These are the mucho nachos. It looks like they're going to be really a good producer. Lots of blooms. So overall, this is looking really good here. We just watered it this morning.